Early rising can be so painful, especially when you've worked really hard to get your little ones sleeping well and sleeping through the night, only to have them go through a stage of waking early or earlier than you would like. So I thought that this week I would just troubleshoot a few of the most common reasons for early waking, and hopefully that'll help some of the families out there get back on track, because it's much nicer to start the day at 6:30 or 7 a.m. than it is at 5 or 5:30 a.m. It's a very long day when your little one's getting up that early. So the first thing that is really important to have a look at if your little one's waking early is assessing the environment and what's going on at that time of day. So all too often clients will say to me, my little one started waking up at 5 a.m. no matter what I do. I'm tweaking his routine, I'm having a look around, I can't figure it out. I always say, if they're waking at like dead on a certain time every day for like 4 or 5 days, get in there before that time and see what's going on. So that might be going actually inside the bedroom or just standing outside the door and gauging what's happening. I know that so many times when I've asked clients to do this, to go in and observe what's happening, they've come out with the answers themselves. So it might be, oh my gosh, there was birds chirping on their window really loudly, or a big stream of light was coming through their window and hitting their face, or reflecting off their bedroom mirror and bouncing back onto them. Or I've even had clients say to me, my next door neighbour's alarm was going off at that time, and that's what obviously has what has been waking. Or even garage doors going up at a set time every day. That can set your little one's body clock to wake up at that time if it's continuously happening. It's like us. If we set our alarm to wake up at 6 a.m. every day, by the 7th, 8th, 9th day, we're probably going to wake up at 6 a.m. anyway, because our body just gets used to it. So it's really important to be aware of the environment of what's going on. Another environmental factor to look at is temperature. Is there a big drop or spike in temperature at that time? Is there something you can do to adjust your little one's bedding or sleepwear to ensure that they're not overheating or that they're not cold at that time? We went through a stage recently where our little ones were waking up at 5 a.m. and I had started dressing them in summer pajamas because it was getting much warmer. But when I went in there at 5 a.m, it was still really cold. So the next night we popped them back into their winter jammies, in warmer pajamas, not winter flannies, but just long sleeve and long pants. And they were fine and they slept through and they were nice and toasty when I went in to get them at 7 a.m. So sometimes environmental factors can just need a tiny little tweak, and that will help your little one get over the line. Another thing to be aware of is if your little one's room is typically quite dark, and the sun's getting up earlier in our part of the world at the moment, if you've got big flashes or streams of light coming into their room, that may be enough to disrupt them. So see if you can work that one out by whether it's a towel over a little bit of light coming through the window or an extra blockout blind or something like that. Investigate, see if you can come up with what the possible problem is, and then that way you can work out a cause. Now, if it's not an environmental reason waking them up, the next thing I want you to look at is their daytime routine. Often when babies start waking up earlier from their naps or waking up earlier to start the day, it could be a sign that they need less amount of sleep within the 24-hour period. So you've got to remember, as your baby gets older, they need slightly less amount of time spent asleep within the whole 24 hours. So if your little one's still having 5 or 6 hours of sleep through the day and then begins to wake earlier, you might want to look at adjusting the amount of sleep they're having through the day. Now, our programs can definitely help you work that out because it's all age-based. It's no good me saying, oh, they should be having X amount, because it varies for different age to age. The other thing to look at is wake periods. How long is your little one asleep before bedtime? Because there comes a time when you definitely need to shuffle naps around and work out the right wake period for your baby's age. Again, that's all included in the program if you need specific help with that. You can always, have a play yourself through trial and error. That's not going to hurt. The other thing that I definitely want you to consider when it comes to early waking is bedtime. Now, a lot of families think, oh, they're waking earlier, it must mean they need to go to sleep later. Not always the case. Often bedtime needs to be brought forward a little bit, but again, this is all relative to the amount of sleep they're having throughout the day. So it's really best to investigate what your little one needs for their age group and for their development. Now, the other thing is getting lots of natural sunlight during the day. Make sure your little one has ample time playing in natural sunlight, soaking it all up, because that helps with overnight sleep as well. I hope that these few tips have been helpful. If you need any further help with early rising, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us through our customer support email address. And I would love to hear from you over on Instagram, and we can continue the conversation there.